Well, hello and welcome to PPV to CPA, the basics. This is just a quick little basic course talking about CPA or cost per action marketing and using PPV or pay-per-view traffic to generate users to your CPA offers. If you're already familiar with this concept or CPA offers in general, this is probably going to mostly be a review for you. However, if you're new to pay-per-view traffic, feel free to listen along and learn the little basics about using pay-per-view traffic to CPA offers. So, what is CPA marketing? Well, CPA stands for cost per action, and it's a form of online affiliate marketing. You're paid a commission for every time a user completes an action. Now, this action could be simply as entering an email address or a zip code, that's it, or could be entering a PIN through a mobile device such as a cell phone or smaller mobile devices, Blackberries, iPhones, so on and so forth. You can also get paid when a user submits their street address. They might be signing up for a service or so on and so forth, or even entering credit card info. Now, of course, the further down the list we get is, well, the more difficult it is for a user to enter that information, which makes it a little bit harder for a conversion to occur. I want to talk about this in just a moment here. So the breakdown of CPA offers. Different actions will have different payouts, like I was just talking about. Generally, the more information that's required from the user, well, the more you'll be paid when a user completes the action. So something small like an email submit or a zip submit, you'll be paid anywhere from 75 cents to $2. Now, most offers are usually around $1.25 plus or minus 10 to 15 cents. Now, if it requires a PIN submit through a mobile device, that might pay out from $8 to $11. Again, maybe plus or minus a few bucks, but generally it's from $8 to $11. For street addresses, that could be anywhere from $8 up to $20, maybe even a little more or even a little less. But then again, there's more information though, so you can see the payout is a little bit higher. Lastly, we have the credit card information. That's $20 up to $80 plus. Now, there's a couple different types of credit card information that people would be entering. One might be for a credit report, and the user might not be charged at all for anything. It might be a free trial or something. So that might just be a lower payout, $20 if the user isn't charged anything. However, if the user is charged, let's say, a $2 trial fee or a shipping fee, that's commonly seen in some CPA offers for weight loss products known as Acai. Typically, if it requires the user to pay a small amount, like $2, the payout of the offer might be anywhere from $30 to $40. Now, if the user has to actually buy something, it could be anywhere from $30 to $40, even more, and they actually have to purchase that with their credit card, you might get paid even more. That's really dependent on the offer itself. I have seen some CPA offers on some networks go into the triple digits easily. But those are usually out of the ordinary, and they aren't commonly advertised using PPV traffic, which we'll be talking about in just a moment. The offers that are most commonly promoted in PPV traffic, I would say probably email zip submits. A lot of people like those. Personally, I like them. They're easy to test, quick to test too. You don't have to wait around for a bunch of data. And then along with mobile offers and street address offers. Credit card information, I know some people are successful with it, but I haven't found success with credit card information offers just because it's a lot of information to ask from someone who was promoted to the offer itself through a pop-up, which we'll be talking about in also just a moment. So how can we promote our CPA offers? PPV is not the only way to do it, so let's go and look at some of the other ways we can get our offers out there on the internet. Some of them are free, some are not. So SEO, also known as search engine optimization, that's the process of getting your website or your offer ranked in Google or other search engines. So that means if you rank your website within the search engine and it shows up within the first few results for a search term, that's pretty good as long as that search term has a lot of traffic. It's also free. However, I don't look at it as free because usually it takes quite a bit of time to get a website ranked up there into a position where you will get a lot of traffic. And the type of time we're talking about is usually somewhere in months, possibly even years, depending on how competitive the keyword search term is. There's also PPC, which is pay-per-click. Google AdWords is the most notorious for pay-per-click advertising. It's not what we'll be talking about here in the guide. However, it is a way that some people promote CPA offers. A little quick note though, PPC, or more specifically PPC through Google AdWords, Google has been cracking down on CPA affiliates more and more over the past 1.5 to 2 years. So you have to watch out for that if you decide to use AdWords. But next we have pay-per-view, which is what we'll be talking about further in this guide. Pay-per-view is also known as contextual traffic or cost per view, CPV. All those terms are basically the same. It's generated in the form of pop-ups. So if you were to visit a website and you get a pop-up, that's typically pay-per-view traffic. We'll talk a little bit more about pay-per-view in just a minute. Lastly, you have email marketing that requires a list of email addresses. Unless you have a list of email addresses already going into marketing, which I don't think really anyone does, you could use that for email marketing. The way you generate emails, you can use either of the above methods, like SEO, PPC, or PPV. It's more of a medium rather than it is a specific way of advertising, because you have to gather the email addresses first, and then you will promote offers to those email addresses. Once again, we'll be talking about PPV traffic. So PPV traffic is in the form of pop-up advertisements. So if you were to visit a website and a small pop-up comes up and tries to advertise something to you, that is generally considered PPV. A little more detailed, PPV companies actually own adware. So if someone goes to a website and wants to download a free game or a free toolbar for their browser, they might have to install adware as a trade-off to getting that free service. So if I were to download a free game, it might install adware onto my computer. That adware is what displays the pop-ups, okay? So that company who we're advertising with will own the software that creates the pop-ups. So let's go through this a little slower, alright? So each time a pop-up is displayed, you will pay a specified price that you've agreed to. This is called your bid, okay? Now, there are many people, thousands of people that are all advertisers on these pay-per-view companies. And of course, the person that is going to pay them the most per view, obviously their ad is going to get shown the most. So the higher your bid is, the more often your ad is going to be shown. Typically, the smallest prices per view is 1 cent on traffic advance and 1.5 cents on media traffic or lead impact. We'll talk a little bit more about the individual pay-per-view companies in a bit, but those are your typical minimum bids. The maximum bids for some niches can go up to over $1, which in my opinion is just crazy. But typically you'll see anywhere from 1.5 cents to 3 cents for most niches. The pop-ups are displayed when a user's search matches predetermined keywords that you came up with. Alright, so what this means is the software on the user's computer looks at the URL string in their browser. Alright, so it could be walmart.com. If you bid on the term walmart.com and the user searches on walmart.com, the software will notice walmart.com and the URL search in their browser and say, oh, hey, trigger this person's ad. So it'll trigger my ad and it will pop up for that user. So basically, your keywords will have to match the ones that the user is searching.